Because how is measuring unemployment is not the way unemployment is measured. It's not a fraction of the entire population. It's a fraction of the labor force. You are saying between 2008 and 2019, 2008 and 2018, that's 10 years. A child born 2018 and 2019 has not joined the labor force. So unemployment is a fraction of the labor force that are the people that are willing to get, looking for a job, that want to accept the prevailing wage rate, they are unable to get job. So someone born 2008, and 2018 is not even the calculation. So if you are saying we are having unemployment, we're actually having unemployment, increase unemployment.
Because I'm a lawyer, I don't want to get into this argument. Okay, because you may not win when it comes.
Back to your question.
Don't even go there.
All right, sir.
So let's go to infrastructure.
So back to your question. One of the causes of jobless growth, as we have just said, is the so-called infrastructural deficiency, where goods, for instance, are produced in the rural sector and they can't find their way into the urban sector where they will be sold and then exchanged for at a price. So, but in recent, I think the past administration laid the foundation, for instance, the railway and so to speak, because government is in continuum, and the new government is actually consolidating that, and we are seeing railways coming back alive. I think just yesterday, the rail from Lagos to Abeokuta was tested, and we saw Governor of Ogun State and Minister of railway is not something you construct within 3 years. So that means somebody must have laid the foundation some years back. So that's why, to an extent, when this government comes and start blaming the past government, they didn't do that, to an extent, we should give some credence to them. I'm not going political this time around. But we're saying in terms of infrastructure, we are actually moving towards, we are getting it gradually. Let me say gradually. There are still basic things that should be done. For instance, power. Until we get power correctly in this country, SMEs, the other colleague in Abuja was talking about SMEs. I'm talking about what we have right now. To have, what's it called? Entrepreneurship development inculcated in our curriculum will take time. It's not something we do overnight.
Already, but
It's there already, but it's not something we see all of a sudden. So what we have right now, we still have that mentality of go to school, come out, look for a job. Entrepreneurship is a spirit, just like Joseph Trumpeta said. It's a spirit. It's something that, look at what he used to say, using himself as a case study. He said he had so many challenges, yet he still pulled through. And I have been an entrepreneur too. Just recently, I took up a lecturing job in a private university, and we have seen the difference between a private university and public university curriculum. Many people are advocating for free education, but what they are not seeing is that they're having free education that is free of knowledge. Yes, and that's why you see many parents taking their children to private universities today. Check the first 5 universities in Nigeria, you see private universities among them. Do you understand? So it's not about the price. Education shouldn't come cheap. If you check the first 10 private universities in the whole world, Harvard and they are private universities. So if you invest heavily in education, then you get the result you are looking for. Entrepreneurship, for instance, one of the courses I take in the university, for instance, is economics for non-management students. Whether you are in biomedical students, you are in engineering, you must take economics. So we want you to know the difference between we want you to know what you should do when you get out there. Okay. So not just...
We need to get to Abuja so that we can, because we're almost out of time. Ayobami and Emegbara, let's look at the way forward to keep our economy, as we've all seemed to agree here that there seems to be a movement, maybe inching forward gradually. So let's look at how to keep it going in that direction, moving a little bit faster than we should. Let's begin with you, Emegbara. Please keep it short. There's really no time.
Oh, are you asking me? I think that when you want to run this type of program, you make sure that people you invite have enough time to talk, because I think I haven't been able to talk second time. But in any case, we're not in a talking competition. But there are certain things I wanted to say, but I'm not allowed to say them. First and foremost, the issue of growing jobs with the economy requires empowering small businesses. And every country has done it. When I was at MIT, we discovered that no matter whatever you are studying, you must participate in entrepreneurship competition. And thank God I suggested to Atiku that there must be what is called presidential entrepreneurship competition that will be more competitive than football in Nigeria. Because it is when you show people that if they compete and they get this, and of course there's a market for them, that's why Nigerians are very, very reluctant to be entrepreneurs. But most important, for you to be an entrepreneur, you don't need to have a degree. You don't need to have studied engineering. For example, today, I have 7 patents. I'm not an engineer. So what I'm saying is that we have to create the enabling environment for our young men and women to appreciate that if they work hard, they will benefit from it. And also, we close the market for imported goods that to displace our small businesses. Because there's no way I can go and get funding, set up a cashew nut processing plant or whatever, and the same products come from India or from Pakistan or from South Africa, and the supermarkets will prefer the imported ones, and of course I will be out of business. So that's why I'm saying that this type of discussion is not what we do in an hour, and if we have to do it in an hour, reduce the number of people involved so that you actually get the best from the few people you invite.
Mr. Mbara, thank you very much. We'll bring back this discussion again. We'll bring you back to come and talk about patent and the way forward. But let's get to Ayobami so we can... Ayobami.
Okay, in my opinion, I think I will agree with him in terms of entrepreneurship. The best way to grow an economy is for you to empower entrepreneurs, and I think this government is trying in that area. I think the ease of doing business, the ease of registration of your companies, visa on arrival, and so many other things that have been put in place will help in terms of building the economy. And then in terms of infrastructural development, you cannot grow an economy when your infrastructures are decayed. And that has been our experience over years. But gradually we are getting out of that. It's going to take a while because you cannot build trains and roads in a night. You will have to take a while. For instance, the Lagos-Abeokuta road that Mabinori referred to was actually started in 2017. So I need to clear you there. It started 2017. The Lagos-Abeokuta road was started 2017, and it has almost been completed. It should terminate in Ibadan. Then the one from Ibadan will now start. It will terminate finally in Kano. So it's going to be Lagos, Abeokuta, Ibadan, and other roads in it to terminate in Kano. You need to clear that. So, and we've had challenges with building rails that were narrow gauge. Right now, they've been expanded to standard gauge. So you build infrastructure. Power, for instance, was a challenge. And
all right, thank you, Ayobami. Thank you, Mr. Akinshu.
I think Ayobami is on a similar page to where I land. Now, when you talk about infrastructure, this administration has done a lot of things to ease infrastructure. As he has mentioned, rail transportation is being opened. For the first time, we can see a lot of rail construction going on roads. Mabinori spoke earlier about evacuation of food. I was in Osun State yesterday, and the number of roads that I saw tarred within Oshogbo and the Agnes, there were terrible roads between Oshogbo and Ilesha before. But many of those roads have improved, so it's easier to evacuate things. It is not completed yet, but we can see a lot of roads and work being done. Okay. On the power sector, which helps SMEs and co, I was saying earlier to him that in my company, in my business, my diesel bill has reduced, which has reduced my cost of servicing my generator, which has reduced so many other things.
Really helps. As Egbara says, we'll bring back this topic, and hopefully we'll have the four of you for more time to talk about it again. Thank you very much. Ayobami Oyalowo, political economist, Odilime Egbara, financial development analyst, joined us from our Abuja studio. And here we had Oladotun Mabinori and Dakwa Akinshu. Thank you, gentlemen, for sharing your thoughts with us. So as we'll be back in a moment for the home stretch, please join us again.